So basically how I start, guys, I draw my SRTs. The time frames you guys see up here, day, 4 hour, and 1 hour, are what I mark up when I'm about to trade. I look at the 15-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, and 1 minute. Um, so if you guys want to take a screenshot or take some notes on what I use, everything I have on the star is the only thing I use and the only things I look at as far as time frames. My tools that I use again are the ones with the stars, trend lines, and horizontal rays. Once you hit the star on them, they will appear anywhere on the screen. You can just drag it to uh, where you best, where it best fits on your screen. I put them to where nothing gets on the way, and it doesn't cover anything. So I'll start at the day time frame, guys. I'll get your questions a little bit if you have any. So price as we can see on USD JPY. Matter of fact, let's go for a diff pair. GBP JPY. So we can see where price is currently at. This is a day time frame, so each candle is goes by the day. This little tiny one is zoom out. I cover up where price is currently at. I see where price at by this thin blue line, whether it turns red or blue. Right now, as we can see, it is blue. And I start marking out my charts. All I do, like I said, I zoom out and cover up current, maybe first week, maybe even a month. I don't need to see where price is present, although I can see it by this thin line we have here. If you guys don't know what SRTs, they stand for supports, resistance, and trend lines. I draw 2 to 3 supports and resistances on each time frame, meaning the day, the 4 hour, and the 1 hour. And the higher the time frame, the thicker I want my lines to be. By that I mean the width of the line. So for example, I dropped a support right there. So that I want it to be the width, I want it to be the thickest. And reason why I drew a support right there is because it came and automatically turned back around. Same here, it came, automatically turned back around. Once price breaks, whether it's support or resistance, guys, it becomes the opposite. So since it broke a support, next thing it's going to do, it's going to come and test it as a resistance. Oh, apparently I could zoom out more. Um, am I going to zoom out that far? We don't need to go back to 1990s or the early 2000s, guys, to try and read the market. Like I said, the furthest my mouse can go, it's probably like 2009 if I keep on going doing it. Yeah, 2009. Um, so I put my support right there. I'm going to look over to my left, and I see supports. I'm drawing them as closest as to where price is at, guys. So an example of what I do not do. This is a resistance. Price came all the way up here and dropped. Price came up here and dropped. As you can see, dropped, dropped. Once it breaks, it becomes the opposite. Price came up here and dropped. Price came right here and dropped. But again, this is an example of what I do not do. Uh, Price is currently down here, right? And all these resistances are way, way up high. You will need either a couple of days, if not months, for price to reach up high like that on those areas. So what I like to draw, I like to draw my SRT supports, resistance, and trend lines as closest as to where price is currently at. So I got 1, 2, 3. This is the closest support that I have to the price. Now I'm drawing my resistance, a resistance right there. I'm not saying these resistances that I just drew up here are wrong. No, they are not. But again, you want to make it simple for you. These are useless resistances at the time. If it starts breaking past my third support, and I'll start drawing new supports. If it starts breaking past my third resistance, I'll start drawing new resistances. Let me know if that makes sense. If you guys have any questions on to why I am drawing my supports and resistances at a certain level, please feel free and ask. I'm looking for entry points or points of interest that the market acted a certain way, meaning if price came up, then that's where they rejected. That's a point of interest. Again, price came up and came down, that's point of interest. High key point of interest, meaning with high probabilities that price, next time price comes up to this resistance, I'm expecting for price to fall down. If it breaks resistance, I have another resistance above that. And my first resistance becomes support. Let me know if you guys are following, if that makes sense. I'll check the chat right now for any questions. It's pretty simple, guys. The more you guys practice it, the more you guys will understand. Like I said, I've always heard. I don't know if I heard it from somebody or I heard it in a movie. Trading is as simple as drawing lines, and I didn't understand it till I started drawing my own lines. Um, Let me open the chat. Need to mark up. My guy Tom's been trading with me for a minute. I recently turned 28. I recently turned 28. I wish I would have known about this when I was in high school. I probably would have dropped out. Um, How many charts do you mark up daily? Click on all those pairs. I only trade the yens. I don't know if you guys have ever heard jack of all trades, master of none. For those of you that are barely beginning, I highly recommend you stick to 1 to 2 pairs. And when I started, I didn't fully understand why am I only going to trade 1 pair or 2 pairs when there's 10, 15 pairs I can choose from, and not including commodities or the cryptos. Um, but after I got comfortable marking up or sticking to what the educators were recommending, and I got this from Ness. My favorite educator, however, is Evan. But Ness, I got a few pointers from him by simply hopping on his training sessions, and he was always talking about 1 pair millionaire, meaning you stick to something. Eventually, you'll get good at that something. You don't have to. You won't have to turn around and look at anything else. So master a pair and then move on to a different one. Whenever whenever you guys feel comfortable and feel like are at that point where, oh, I know what I'm doing. I can mark up any pair at this point. And the yens have always been my favorite, guys. They correlate a lot. They correlate with each other, meaning if 1 pair goes up, if GJ is going up, GBP JPY is going up. Another yen pair is going up, like USD JPY or Euro JPY. If Euro JPY is going down, I'll be expecting for GBP JPY going down. I try to catch sells or buys when I'm trading on all the pairs, all yen pairs, EJ, UJ, or GBP JPY. And there's often times where you won't catch all three. You'll see some acting dropping faster than the others, and that's when you'll see uh, the pair that's moving the slowest. You can catch a sell or a buy on that pair that's moving slower compared to the other ones, if that makes sense. But these are the only pairs up till today. I don't look at any other pair. I don't look at GU. I don't look at GBP CAD. I do trade Euro USD, and simply because Euro USD correlates with USD JPY, meaning if USD JPY is going up, because USD, the dollar, is stronger, then I'm expecting Euro USD to be falling because obviously same thing, the dollar is stronger. So that's hopefully that answers your question. Want to move down to my three to my three SRTs on the 4 hour time frame. So I got three resistance and three supports on the day. Now I look over to where price is currently at. As we can see, it looks like it's on an uptrend, and there's also a downtrend that I see. Uptrends are you usually want to connect your lowest points to the next lowest to the next lowest, and downtrends you want to connect the opposite, which is your highest points. Um, Quick example. And this is the day time frame. So again, I want it to be fixed, and that way I know when it's coming up there, I know it's a strong point of interest where price is more than likely to fall down as this is a downtrend. I got 1 point, 2, 3, 3 points that touch. That's more than enough. You need look for 2 or 3 points where the candles touch, guys. And what I usually also like to do, I don't draw three resistances, but I do like drawing another resistance, either right above it or right below it, wherever it makes more sense. If I draw one above it, it's not going to make sense. So what I do, example, right click or double click on your keypad or your mouse, whichever you use, and this option, hover over the trend line or over your resistance or support. So in this case, it's a resistance because it's coming down. So every time it touches this trend line, it's acting as resistance. It drops, it drops, it drops. So hover over it and right click or double click on it. When you see the settings option or clone and copy, hit on clone. Um, all it does is it gives you the same exact trend line that you just drew or that I drew in this case, and it pops it up in a different spot of the screen, different yeah, on a different position on the screen. All you got to do, in this case, it popped it up above my first trend line. Again, I could put it above or under trend line, whichever makes more sense. In this case, it's a downtrend line, so there's nothing above the first one I already drew. So I like my trend lines to be parallel with each other, so they act as a support, as a resistance in this case. So just like my resistance is right here, if it breaks, if price goes up to my resistance and it breaks, I have another trend line. I have another resistance to sell. This is still the high time frame, so I'll be moving down to the lower time frame in just a bit. But same way my resistance lines function, the way they work, is the same way my trend lines work, whether they're uptrend or downtrend. So we have two downtrends right now. I'm expecting for when price comes to my first downtrend line, I'm expecting price to fall back down. If for some reason it decides to break my resistance and my trend line, my first trend line, I have you guys, this call is being recorded so you guys can go back to it. I'll be posting it on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna give you guys another example, and this is going to be an uptrend. So I grab it from, let me zoom in. This is the uptrend that I'm seeing right now. I'm grabbing it from this wick of the third candle. Let me zoom in some more. One candle, the red, second blue candle. I'm grabbing it from that wick. And all I'm doing is stretching it out to the future, because technically price hasn't came up here yet. That's going to be a blue for support and uptrend. So every time it comes and touches this uptrend, I am going to be looking for buys. Same thing, right click, hover over that trend line I just drew, hover over it and right click or double click, whichever option works for you guys. Mine is I double right click it on my keypad from my laptop. So again, it gives me the same one I just drew. I like them to be parallel with each other, so I don't have to grab a trend line and try to draw it. It already does it for me. Um, it popped it right above it. So in this case, I'm going to draw my trend line right under my first trend line, if that makes sense. This one, I am placing it on on the body of these wicks, of these candles, sorry. So if it breaks my first trend line, I'll be looking to take some uh, some trades on my second trend line. So like, again, this is just like supports. If it breaks, if it comes down and it breaks this support, I'm looking to take trades off of this one, off my second support. If it breaks that support, I'm looking to take trades off my third support. So that's how trend lines work, and that's how I like to draw them parallel with each other. There's always going to be SRTs on new time frames. So there's going to be new resistances, new trend lines, new supports on different time frames. So let's go over to the 4-hour time frame. Same thing. I zoomed in. Now I'm going to cover up the current price, which is to my right. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to zoom out. That's the furthest I can zoom out. And again, I go 2 to 3 more supports and resistances. Here is a support simply because of, let me zoom in why, to show you guys why. Here is going to be my support on these candles. This is my first support on the 4-hour time frame. So it broke right here, and then it came and it found support right there. So that's why I put a support line right there. Now that's going to be slightly thinner. It's the 4-hour time frame. Again, the higher time frame, the thicker I want my SRTs to be. So since we're going down, we're going to be making them slightly thinner. So I got my support right here. As we can see, price came down, found support. It broke, but next time it came back up and it broke again. That's where it found support, support before it broke down. And like I said, guys, once something breaks, it becomes the opposite. Like for example, this was support, support, support. All those wicks that it gave us, it clearly broke right here. Next thing you know, what does it do? It's the opposite. Just like right here, it came, clearly broke. What does it do? The opposite. It breaks, it becomes back to support. This was resistance since price was below it at some point. It breaks through it, it becomes back to support, support. Let me know if you guys are following and if things are making sense. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to ask me. So that's one support. I still have another one, maybe 2 more to That's right. Coal is one of coal was one of the first ones that was on my calls, guys, and that's when I used to have 3 to 4 people trading with me. Now it's crazy how far we've come and how far we have yet to go. I appreciate you, Cole, and appreciate you guys for being on this call, wanting to learn this for yourselves. That's one support. Another support. Again, I'm looking to where price is at. I can see prices. I cannot see present price the candles, but I can see prices by that thin line, the thin blue line right now. Another support I will draw will be right below where price is at. And as we can see, once it breaks that support, if it decides to break, what is it going to be? Resistance, resistance, resistance. But for now, price is above it, so it is support. Uh, that's two. I'm gonna go for two resistances now. You don't necessarily have to draw three. Resistance. I can have resistance up here. I can have resistance all the way up here. But first, I need them to start breaking through these strong resistances before I will decide to mark up any new higher ones than I already have. I hope that makes sense, guys. So, like I said, I'm looking for resistance to where price is currently at, and I'm going to draw that resistance right, technically right where price is at right now. Why? Because price was consolidating right here. I looked to my left, and prior to it being resistance, it used to be support. So let me scroll this a little bit back. And as you guys can see right there, it was support, support, support. It decides to break. Now it becomes resistance. And technically, price should be falling down. Hopefully, we can take some buys right now when we get down to the 15 5 minutes. That's one resistance. One more resistance will be I was going to place it right here, but I just look over to my left, and if I see some resistance right there or support that became resistance, then I'll place it. And like I said, it did. So I could place it right here. Resistance, resistance. This is resistance based off these candles. That resistance used to be support. Where? Right here. All these times support, support. This is basically consolidation, and it didn't technically it didn't break. And if it broke, we could use a couple rollovers. But overall, this was support before it became the resistance that it is now. Trend line. I do see a trend. downtrend, although I already have my daily time frame, which is the downtrend. I do see one on the 4 hour as well. I could grab it from this highest or this highest. I'll give you guys an example of what they look like. One highest to the next highest. This will be I have a trend line that acts as resistance. As you guys can see, it touched one time, two, three, and I'm expecting it to come touch touch again. When I don't know, but what if it does, I'm ready for it to sell. I'm ready to put some sales when it comes up to that trend line. Same thing, guys, same thing. Hover over it, double click or right click, clone. It gives me the exact same one. There's nothing above it, so I want it. The more you practice and the more you see it, the more you see, you'll see your lines making sense, or in other words, common sense. Because I could have easily placed this other trend line down here, and that doesn't make sense to me. It might touch one. I'm getting touching the next highest, which is right here, wick. And what does it do after I touch that wick on top? It just goes through a few candles. It doesn't go through many. But it touched, it dropped. Let me zoom in. Look at these candles. It touched, it dropped, it touched, and look at where the body ended. Right here again, it touched. We might have needed a couple rollovers, and not we would have to settle down for a loss. But that's why we have several SRTs, several supports and resistances, and that's where patience comes, guys. We're not trying to chase the markets. Uh, Always wait for price to come to you. And as we can see, once it breaks, again, like I said, once it breaks a support or resistance, it becomes the opposite. Let's go to where price is currently at. Look again, a long wick. Look at where price dropped to. It broke. Now it became the opposite, but I'm already. You can either take buys or sells. I don't know if you guys have ever heard Ness say you can. Those of you that know that have been trading for a while, this is where the term ping pong comes into play, or into. You guys should know. Those of you that have been trading for a while should know that term ping pong, meaning you can buy, I can sell, I can buy, I can sell. And that's with any that's with any SRTs that you guys draw. Where price is at, it barely came up there to that trend line. Look, if it breaks this resistance, I'm already looking for sells just by the look of this time frame. I'm already looking for sells. But if it decides to break, I'll simply wait for it to come to my trend line. And when you're zoomed out, guys, you guys are gonna be like, "Whoa, this, what is that?" Or I remember the times I would show my charts to people. I have easily, this is easily what, 15 to 20 lines already going horizontal and going, um, they doing these trends. I can't call them vertically because they're not all the way vertically, but you guys know what I mean. It does get confusing if you're barely starting, but like I said, the more you practice, the more you understand, and once you go down to the 1 hour, the 15 minutes, 5 minute, you're not gonna see these many lines, especially if you're zooming in, and that's where you're trying to focus. Where am I going to put my buys? Where am I going to put my sells? So again, this is the 1 hour. I'm going to mark it down. I would mark one or two supports and resistances if I do see any. Other than that, as you guys can see, price has been playing, or every time it touches one line, it goes the other way. For the most part, I don't know if everything I'm saying is making sense, guys. Again, this won't be the first or the last training that I'll have. Um, but hopefully it's making sense somewhat by the way I'm explaining it. It's honestly very, very simple. Just simply because it broke this resistance and boom, it came back down. Same thing it did right here. So I have technically two indicators here with that popping up, my actual indicators. That market should be coming down when it comes to the 320s, 330s, which is where I have my price. 325 going the last three digits all the way to the right. Other than that, I will be looking to sell in the next probably. Oh shoot, I didn't even realize the time, guys. Um, I mean, this is going to. We are going to go straight into my trading session. So I'll call out these trades as as we go on. Uh, as I finish right here explaining how to mark up your charts, um, I just gotta hit stop on recording and restart a new recording when my session starts. So that's one resistance, guys. Oh, I didn't make it thin. I gotta make it thinner. So obviously you guys can see the difference between the thickness of the lines. This is 4 hour. This is 1 hour. And the thinnest is when I'm about to trade is when I use the thinnest line. So by tomorrow or by later tonight, if I decide to trade again, I know what to delete, which is my thinnest line. wait for these trades to come to us, or the market price to come to us, and for us to execute on a trade. Um, that's one resistance. One more resistance. Where would it be? I'm going to draw it up here. And last one, third, right there. Support. I'm trying to move a little bit fast since I know I want to get some trades in right when the hour hits, which is in like 3 minutes. Support. I'm looking at these wicks as support, and I see there was previous resistance right there. So I'm going to draw that support. Yeah, I'm drawing that support right there. It broke this resistance, so now what did it become? It's been touching as support. And that's the only support I'm going to draw. I drew three resistances and one support simply because I have another support from the 4 hour time frame, which is much stronger. That's what it means. The width, the thicker my lines, the stronger, and the more probabilities you have on taking a buy or a sell, and for the price to react the opposite way. So I already have my charts marked up, guys. I draw day, 4 hour, 1 hour, and now I'm pretty much ready to trade. Let's go down 15 minutes. What are we in the 15 minutes? Support. Technically, this is support too. But I'm looking for sells. I'm gonna be looking for sells right now. I see a small downtrend. I drew that one from the wick, and I just stretched it out. It touched another wick. It touched some bodies. Touched the wick. It touched the bodies. What am I going to do next? Clone it. Right click, clone it. I do see these wicks above it, so this time I'm going to place it above it. I could have started from the top wick, and then just placed it below it, which is what I just showed you guys. Um, so if you guys are ready to trade, let me know. Let me know. I know this was this Achi. We can go more. We can go into depth with those on the next training session, guys. But I hope you guys were able to learn something, and you guys can go back and see this recording probably after tonight. I don't have it uploaded. So once this candle breaks towards the upside, and this is our resistance, it's going to be the opposite. But for now, it's actually resistance. Um, we are not going to a different Zoom. We are going to stay here. Let me just stop the recording. Yeah, I like my trend lines to be parallel. Yeah, whether they're down or up. I keep them previous days. My mainly my 4 hour and my day. They pretty much always stay there. My markups. What I often do delete is the 15-minute and down. So anything I marked up, which is this thin white line, or anything I mark up that right now, which we're about to trade, anything I mark up right now will be deleted by tomorrow or next time I decide to trade later on tonight. Other than that, I do keep my day, my 4 hour and 1 hour time frames at all times. They're there. I don't ever delete. And if you have it purchased, you have TradingView purchased, you should be they should be good. I don't have it purchased, but since yens are all I trade, my charts are always up. 1 second. We're probably going to be taking some buys on USD JPY. 1 second though, guys. I'm going to stop recording.